Amex Gold. This is the thing I love here is you can get 4% in 2 categories. I don't remember all of the categories, but the one I do remember is advertising. 4% on advertising, guys. Like, that's huge. So think about your bill that you're paying to Zillow every month, right? I know people that are paying $1,000. I know people that are paying $10,000. I know people that are paying $100,000 a month. Think about being able to get 4% cash back on all that advertising. Welcome to the Whissel Way Podcast. My name is Kyle Whissel, your host with Whissel Realty Group and eXp Realty here in San Diego.
And my name is Bryan, Koci, Media and Marketing Director here at Whissel Realty Group.
And so the goal of our show is to give you the tools, the techniques, the tactics that you need to go out there and crush it in your business. The way that we like to do that is just to answer the questions that you have for us. Rather than us guessing what you want to hear about, we just listen to you and answer the questions because we know that's what you want to hear about.
Where can they ask a question?
If they want to ask a question, they can go to thewhisselway.com. And on there, you can ask us questions. You can join our Facebook group where we share a lot of the stuff we're working on first in our business before we actually roll it out. We also can connect you with our podcast, our YouTube channel, so you can subscribe to those. And you can find out, join our referral network because everybody's leaving California, so we got a lot of referrals to send out. And lastly, find out about our upcoming Media Mayor Mastermind events, which are a 16-hour course all about everything that Bryan and I have learned shooting thousands of videos together. So you can go to thewhisselway.com and check all of that out.
Cool.
All right, dude. Today might be a fun one.
Yeah, this was a lot of you talking, which I'm stoked about. I've been talking a lot at our mastermind. Now it's your turn.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about credit cards today. And when I came on here 5.5 years ago, I don't think you had any credit cards. And you're like, I don't do credit cards. I'm like, that's silly. You're like, I don't do credit cards. And now, within the last, 6 months or a year, you've gotten about 13 credit cards. And so I want you to kind of explain why you did no credit cards, what made you go to credit cards. And I don't want you to spend too much time on that because I think most people use credit cards. And if you don't, maybe hopefully this will help you. But not only that, but which one should you use? Should you use one for everything? Should you split it up? What's the best bang for your buck? I know you're a big researcher. I know you spent lots of time researching this. And so I'd love to know kind of what you chose and why.
Yep. So the reason I had no credit cards is when I was younger, I racked up a ton of credit card debt.
How much?
Oh, I mean, it was like $60,000.
That's how much
I probably had like $60,000 worth of credit card debt. Because like when you're in college, they just like, they hand out like ecstasy and credit cards like they're Tic Tacs, right? They give you like all that stuff. There's like booths set up all over the campus. Like sign up for this credit card and get a freaking bouncy ball. And your dumbass signs up for the credit card to get the bouncy ball because you're 18 and you don't know any better. So you sign up for all these credit cards. So I had a bunch of them.
And you're on ecstasy and you want that bouncy ball.
And you're on ecstasy and the bouncy ball and ecstasy are fun together. So not that I've ever done ecstasy.
I haven't.
Yeah. I signed up for a ton of different credit cards when I was younger, and then I ran up massive bills on all of those credit cards. And then during the foreclosure crisis and all of that stuff, I settled with all of those credit card companies. They were all had massive amounts due, and luckily all of them were flexible and they would allow for settlements. One of them even like at one point was like, hey, we know you owe us X dollars. If you send us Y dollars, we'll just wipe out your card and we'll be done and we'll just call it square and walk away from each other. I was like, cool, here's your money. So I had paid them all off via settlements, but at that point my credit was jacked. So I couldn't even go get a new credit card at that point if I wanted to. And I got of the mindset, I pendulumed one direction where I would put everything on a credit card. And I was like, well, I don't want to do that again. So I pendulumed the opposite direction, was like, if I don't have the money, I shouldn't buy it. So I kind of switched my mindset to that. And that was why I had no credit cards, I think, when you first started working with me. And over the last couple years, I've pendulum back the opposite direction because I look at my P&L statement and I realize how much freaking money I spend every month. Just in marketing, we were talking earlier today, we're spending $30,000+ every month on marketing. And a lot of those expenses are able to be put on a credit card. And so it's stupid to be spending $30,000 a month on marketing and not putting it on a credit card where you could actually get some rewards from it. So I started diving into all the different credit cards that are out there, figuring out, points versus cash rebates and what are the different options that are out there. So we'll start with the most basic card, and then we can kind of like layer and work our way up. So
and make sure you zoom in on these, Tom. Close as you can get to I'll tell you the expiration dates or the back of the card number. But just zoom in so we can see.
What's funny is most of these, the card number's on the back, so you can't even see them anyway.
All right, I'll tell
you.
All
right, so now here's the thing too, is you got to decide, do you have personal cards? Do you have business cards? What do you do with that? For me personally, I like to have just my go-to card. I think everybody should have like a go-to card that you use. If it's business, this is my go-to card. If it's personal, this is my go-to card. For most people, just doing a cash back card is going to be your best bet. So something where you can get cash back. Now, depending on the card, there's a ton of different ones that are out there. But what I found, the best one I'll cover as much of the card as I can. The best card I found for business for cash back is Capital One Spark. And they have a mileage version of this, and they have a cashback version of this. What I have found is that I don't typically like travel rewards cards, with the main reason being that if I use rewards for travel, I can't write off those rewards. If I actually pay for travel with a credit card, now I can get points by paying for the travel, and I can write off the travel expense. Does that make sense? Yeah. Whereas if I use a cashback card, and let's say I have $1,000 worth of cash back or $1,000 worth of travel, I'd rather get the $1,000 of cash back, because now I can use that cash for things that I can't write off, like groceries, going golfing, whatever. Like that, I'd rather get rewards that aren't used for things that I couldn't write off. Because if I can write something off at my tax bracket, you're talking about a 50% savings. So if I took $1,000 and used it on travel, I just lost money, because I could have bought that with this card, got 2% cash back with this, plus I could have written off that $1,000, right? And then based on your tax bracket, 25, 30, 40, 50%, you would have been able to essentially get back on your taxes, because it would be work travel. So I just don't like to use, I don't prefer mileage whenever I can avoid it. So that's why this 2% on everything, doesn't matter if it's gas, travel, food, beverage, whatever.
And is that your business or personal?
This is my business. Okay. So Capital One Spark business. And I go for the cashback option on that. And then I don't believe they have that for personal. So for personal, I have a Citi double cash card, which essentially does the same thing. They do it a little bit different. You get 1% when you spend it, and then you get 1% when you pay it off. So it's still 2% at the end of the day, because in theory you should pay it off. So between the two, like, these are my two go-to cards, the double cash from Citi and the Capital One Spark cashback card. So these are both 2% on everything. So no matter what I do, I don't have to think like, should I be using this one, that one? Like, these are the go-to cards. Both are 2%, both are cashback. And so whenever I do get the cash back, I use that for, fun stuff that I could not typically write off. So that's kind of the base. That's where I think everybody should start, is just basic cashback cards. Then you can start layering on and get specialty cards from that point. So we'll go on the personal side. This is the Capital One Saver card. And this thing is like a brick. This is the heaviest of all the cards that I have. One, it's cool because it's a metal card, and metal cards are cool, and they always get attention, and it's fun, and it starts conversations. So the beauty of the Saver card is that you can get 4% back on things like meals and entertainment, which traditionally in real estate, we used to be able to write entertainment off. So I would normally have used a business card for that. But now that I can't write entertainment off, there's no point using a business card for it. So therefore I use a personal card. Like golf, you used to be able to like write that kind of stuff off. You'd be like, oh, I was entertaining clients on the golf course, and you could write it off. Can't do that anymore. So there's no sense even putting that on a business card anymore. So now with this, I could get 4% cash back when I go golfing. So I might not be able to write it off, but I could get 4%. And then this is also good for meals. So you could go and when you go out to dinner with your wife and your friends and all of that stuff, you could use this and you could get 4% on all of that.
So you say, hey, I'll cover the check, just Venmo me.
Dude, whenever, like I used to hate when you'd go to a big dinner with like 20 people and there'd be like this shit show trying to figure out the bill. Like now I'm like, I got it. You guys just all, and especially Venmo makes it easier now because you don't have like, oh, I forgot cash. Cool, Venmo me. So now everybody gives you cash and Venmos you, and then you throw it on this bad boy and you get 4% on the whole bill. So
not bad.
That's nice. So Capital One Saver Card is great for that.
And that's SAVOR if you're listening on the podcast.
Yeah, SAVOR. We'll jump back over to business. So I do have a Capital One mileage card as well for business. The reason I do that is I can't have two of these for business. So I had to get two separate ones. These are essentially the same card, but one is just cashback, one is mileage. The reason I have the two separate ones, one of these I keep my true operating expenses on. So those are going to be the things that are like directly tied to the company, like the overall company expenses. So that could be things like paying the utilities. That could be buying our leads from Zillow, Realtor.com, like things that are true company expenses. And then the other card I use for the ones that are just my personal expenses. I learned years ago when we had companies that were looking at acquiring us, when they valued us, they were like, well, let's see your P&L. And I showed it to them. They're like, okay, well, which of these expenses were for your marketing versus the company marketing?
Because you're still in production.
Because I still produce. And now we had to go through like line by line. Was this company or you? Company or you? Company or you? So now one of those is the company card. One of those is the you card. So now it's easier because if I need to back out what are the you expenses or my expenses, it's very easy because those are all on one card. And then the ones that are the company expenses are on another card. So it's just separation between the two. And they wouldn't let me have two of the cashback card. So I got one that's an operating card, one that's a cashback card. Does that make sense?
Cool.
Or one that's
mileage.
Yeah, mileage. Sorry. Next up,
your second metal card.
My second metal card. This one here, I don't have all my cards because I didn't know this is what we were shooting today. But next one up is the American Express Gold card. And
isn't the black card the best?
It is. That's like an invite only. You can't even you can't go on and apply for a black card.
He doesn't even have a black card.
I do not have a black card.
Hey, do you want a black card? Maybe someone listening can invite you.
They actually don't give as good of rewards. I don't know that I want a black card.
Never mind then.
But, I mean...
Don't invite Kyle.
I mean, our phones are listening to everything we say, so it's pretty likely I'll get an invite for a black card because it's listening. My wife and I were talking about, like, mouth guards for, like, night sleeping or something. And I told my wife, too, I was like, watch, I'm going to get targeted with an ad for a mouth guard tomorrow because we just had this conversation. And sure as shit, very next day, got the ad.
Did you buy it?
Hell no. She was talking about getting one for herself.
Oh.
So we were having the conversation. I was like, I know we're going to get targeted with it. Sure as shit. The very next day. So just in case you want proof, like you couldn't get any better proof because I've never Googled shit about a mouth guard. All right. Amex Gold. This is the thing I love here is you can get 4% in two categories. I don't remember all of the categories, but the one I do remember is advertising. 4% on advertising, guys. Like, that's huge. So think about your bill that you're paying to Zillow every month, right? I know people that are paying $1,000. I know people that are paying $10,000. I know people that are paying $100,000 a month. Think about being able to get 4% cash back on all that advertising. Like, that's a huge one. If you're not, I think you could get it up to like $150,000 in spend per year. So, which is perfect because that's about what we spend with Zillow. Think about like 4% on $150,000. That's $6,000.
I did the same math in my brain.
That's $6,000 just in rewards
for having a car
that you're going to pay anyway.
How much now? Are there fees on any of these?
I don't remember.
I think
I know the Amex ones have some bigger fees, but they also have bigger rewards. So
yeah. And when you're spending it makes sense.
Yeah, you're getting 4x on advertising. Like, that's huge. That's such a big one because that's typically your biggest expense in your business next to maybe payroll, which you can't put that on a credit card. So of things that could be put on a credit card, advertising is typically your biggest expense. So to be able to get 4% back on that, Amex Platinum is sick. Amex Gold is sick for advertising. And then the other one I don't have with me is the Amex Platinum card. That one has 5x on travel, which we do a lot as realtors, right? We're traditionally we're going around to conferences. And so with the Platinum, I get 5x on booking my airfare and on my hotels, which is huge. So I specifically use the Platinum card just for travel. And so with Amex alone, which I jumped back in with them like a year and a half ago, I'm up to like 1.5 million miles with Amex, which is crazy.
Wow.
And then there's some things if you guys want to like really learn how to leverage those miles, because if you take those miles and just buy like right on the Amex site and use that for your next flight, you're really not getting a lot of value out of it. But where it really comes in is like, let's say you wanted to go to Yas Island in Abu Dhabi, like we were talking about the UFC fights.
I feel like you're not saying real words. Like I've seen them written, but I feel like you're just. I don't think this is real words you're saying.
I don't know if Bryan's ever left America.
I have.
Tijuana?
Mexico and Canada.
Yeah, okay. You haven't left the continent.
No.
Yeah. So there's Yas Island or Fight Island if you prefer.
Have you ever been to Yas Island?
No, but I want to go to Abu Dhabi. So where you can really, really maximize those miles is when you do like overseas travel and getting like business class travel to Abu Dhabi, where you have like a freaking lay down, fold flat bed with TV and all of that stuff. So that's like the next level that you get to, is really learning how to like utilize those points. I go to thepointsguy.com. That's been my resource to really figure out like all these different credit cards and how to use them and stuff. And then there's things too with like the Amex cards. You could pick a specific airline, like the one that you travel most often. You could say, hey, I travel with United all the time. Maybe like you go through their hub. Now you could use the points on that, your United flights, but then because that's your like designated airline, they give you 35% of the points back. So let's say it was like 1,000-point trip. If you booked it through United, they'd take your 1,000 and they'd be like, oh, Kyle's a United, like that's his designated airline. And then they'd give you 350 of those points back. So with the gold card, you get an airline that's 25% back. And then you get a different airline on your platinum card that's 35% back. So therefore you pick your most traveled airline with your platinum card and then your second most traveled airline with your gold card. And so that way, now when you book flights, you just want to make sure you book through one of those two so you get those rebates back if you use your points.
And that's all through Amex, right?
Amex, yeah.
Cool.
And then there's another one too. So I like Amex because I do a lot more travel.
Amex is American Express. I don't know if we said that earlier.
Yeah. Chase also has some really, really killer cards. So people talk a lot about there's like a Chase trifecta or an Amex trifecta you could look up. I opted for Amex because I'm heavily on travel and advertising, and Chase didn't have the same kind of rewards specifically for the advertising, which is why I opted for the Amex combo. But there's a combo you could do with Chase that's very, very similar. So whether you go with the Chase combo or the Amex combo, both are amazing. But just think about that again. If you're spending, $10,000 a month just on Zillow, I mean, you could be getting back thousands and thousands of dollars just by utilizing cards. So that's why I'm geeking out on it, why I'm into it again.
And American Express isn't accepted everywhere, so that may be...
It's most everywhere. It's pretty rare. Yeah, I would say 99% of the places I go. Especially when you go international, it's almost more accepted. So
interesting. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't go international.
Yeah, and then if you do want to get one of those Amex cards, that's one where they'll have like their normal offers on their website, but then they give members, like if you invite a member in, then they can get like a bonus when they join, and I obviously get a bonus, full disclosure. So if you're interested in one of those Amex cards, let me know and I can tell you what the bonus is, and if you want it, I'll shoot it your way.
Cool. How should they hit you up?
DM.
On?
Insta.
And your name is?
At Kyle Whissel.
Cool.
All right. The way we like to finish the show out is to give you one thing that we're utilizing in our business that helps save us time, money, makes us more money, or helps us just have more fun. We like to call that the Whissel Widget of the week. Bryan, I'm going to let you go first.
Yeah, so my widget is especially being helpful right now as I am shooting less. My batteries are sitting in my camera bag longer. I'm not charging them as often. I got this neat little double battery charger. Just plugs into a USB, so I plug it into a little wall socket. This is from a Amazon.
Fire.
No, it's a Echo Dot. I didn't want to say the other word. And it charges two at once. It's got a little LCD screen, so it tells me which one's charging at which percent. I can throw it in there, see how charged it is. I have a couple of these. I love these a lot. I'll give the link to Tom and he'll put it up. I don't know if they work as good as the original. I also buy a lot of aftermarket batteries. These are Sterling Tech batteries, which can die on me sometimes, but they're like a fourth the price. So I'll give Tom links to both those, and that will be in the show notes.
Nice. All right, mine, we're going to stick with the gold theme. So Bryan and I do a lot. Well, obviously, we're doing podcasting. We do a lot of Zoom meetings. We do a lot of webinars, do a lot of Facebook Lives. And audio quality, we've determined over the years is one of the most important things when you're putting videos out, and want to have the best audio quality possible. And so I've been running with a Yeti microphone from the company called Blue, and it's a cool microphone, but it's freaking big. And so if you put it on your desk and put it in front of your monitor, it sticks up like halfway to your monitor. So then you have to fold it down, but it's not meant to be folded down. It's meant to be standing straight up. So it was just interfering with my view, and I didn't like that. I know some people get like a big articulating arm that they can drop down, but that's just stupid. Like, why do you want this big ugly thing in your office? So they came out.
Some people think it looks cool.
I think it looks cool. It looks cool, but now you got this big ugly arm that when you're not using it, it's like, why is that there?
It's not ugly.
So Yeti Blue came out with a Yeti Nano, which is a smaller version of the original Yeti mic, and I think it's like 6 inches shorter. It is much shorter, and they got this dope gold version. They call it Cubano Gold. This thing is sexy as hell. So, I use my Amex gold card to get my Cubano Gold Yeti Nano mic. But the audio quality is just as good as the regular Yeti, but it's much smaller and sexier. So the Blue Yeti Nano mic. It's off the hook. So that's what I'm using now in my office. And it just looks sexy when I look at it. It's not this like 12-inch. I'm not going to go there.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's episode of the Whissel Way Podcast. Again, you can visit us on thewhisselway.com, ask your questions, get a bunch of valuable information. We will see you next week on the Whissel Way Podcast.
Yeah, and again, if you guys have questions you want to have answered on the future episode, go to thewhisselway.com. We can answer those questions on there. You can join our referral network, subscribe to the podcast, the YouTube channel. So if you want to see these things that we're talking about, try to grab my credit card numbers off the cards we just showed. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel and find out about our upcoming events like our Media Mayor Mastermind, where you can learn everything about video that Bryan and I have learned in 5.5 years together. So thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Whissel Way Podcast.
See you guys.
Wait. Before you leave, I want to share some more tips and tricks that we're using in our business to take it to that next level. Just click right here. And don't forget to subscribe. Click right here.